today we got some terrible news. The Montana Supreme Court ruled today that children do not require parental, and this was unanimous. This shows you how liberal the Montana Supreme Court is. Children do not require parental permission to receive abortions here. They ruled that there was this is the right to bodily autonomy. This is the made-up concept that they're going around. You'll see signs. There's no such thing it's literally a made-up concept. There's no such thing in the entire history of the world of bodily autonomy, that you can do whatever you want to and with your body. In fact, if anybody took time to think about this, they'd realize, well, the very purpose of law is to tell you what you can and cannot do with your body. For example, if you attempt to commit, you lose your right. You will be arrested. Now you'll be put in a 5150. So it's against the law to do that to your body. It is against the law to use illegal and illicit drugs. It is against the law to use your body in a crime, right? So there's no such thing as bodily autonomy. Montana was, like I said, only had allowed that legally because it was based on the right of privacy. And the right of privacy was the Roe v. Wade federal ruling that was overturned. Basically, the SCOTUS, the highest court and law of the land, had ruled there is no right of privacy. It's bad law. So it's up for grabs. Supreme Court justice in Montana ruled based on right of privacy. They're citing something that doesn't actually exist. Furthermore, children don't have a right to privacy. Children, now, see how dangerous this is. It is the state taking away parents' rights with children. Children are now in the control of the state, but it's worse than that. So notice all of this is going on all throughout the United States. In Governor Newsom in California, this is why Elon Musk had moved. The state will, if your children wants to become a transformer, if you object, the state will take your children away from you in California. So notice the same pattern, right? So this is like a step in that direction. Parents have no rights and there are no protections over children. PED. That's what this law is really about. Now that they allowed that, there's nothing to protect children. Keep your hands off of our children. And I don't know what to do with this. Just like call for the abolition of the Montana Supreme Court. Have these people locked up. You do not touch the most innocent and precious of our society. So call all of these Supreme Court justice PEDOS. Like I see exactly what this is. And I'm so upset. And Lord have mercy. But look at Montana Supreme Court decision on Wednesday, which ruled that minors do not require parental permission to do murder. To murder another person, a human being. I mean, I cannot believe we live in a society where we're literally murdering and allowing children now to murder the most innocent of society. Governor Greg Gianforte chimes in, says, as a strong defender of parental rights, see, didn't I not tell you that? So this ruling means parents don't have any rights anymore. Your children are property of the state. He says, I'm deeply concerned and disappointed by today's ruling from Montana Supreme Court, which states parents do not have a fundamental right to oversee the medical care. So kids can do whatever they want. How insane is this of their young daughters? In its ruling, the court has wielded its gavel like a hammer against one of the most fundamental rights of our history, the rights of parents to consent to medical care. That's what's so crazy. We've always had that. If you go into surgery, right, the parents have to actually sign. And these diabolical Malthusian PEDOS Supreme Court justices, child abusers, have actually ruled they're ours and we're coming after your children. I told you this was John Tester. I can't believe people in Montana even fall for this. I'm a dirt farmer, a real Montanan, and I believe in ushering in fentanyl and opening our borders and protecting and transforming your children and child abuse and abortions, and let's murder our children, right? As I represent true Montana as a native Montanan, right? He literally goes on this, and people in Montana fall for like, but he's a dirt farmer of 3 generations and says that he knows what Montanans want. Receiving outside money, and like, this guy is not for Montana.
If you want a Montana where you can raise your kids and your kids can raise their kids and your grandkids can raise their kids just like my grandparents and parents did for me, then this election's really important.
What does he say? Senator Testicles says he believes that no politician should be in the business of making healthcare decisions for women. Notice the scam. Oh, it's healthcare. Your Honor, I wasn't physically abusing my wife. It was called marital physics. Your Honor, it wasn't brainwashing in the cult that I started. It was social engineering, you see. Do you see that these terms that you can use? It wasn't murder, Your Honor. It was healthcare for the betterment of society, you see. Just like Iceland, we've eradicated Down syndrome. How? We just murdered, in the name of healthcare and for the betterment of society, the undesirables. Healthcare, you see. Senator Testicles, he would continue to fight for Montana women to have the freedom and privacy to make their own personal healthcare decisions, and murder and sacrifice their children to the demon god Baal. Get this guy out of here. If the right people get into power, all of these people should be arrested for crimes against humanity. The law recognizes it's a human life. This is what's really interesting. But legally, at least this was in the Roe v. Wade. Like, I don't know what they're going to argue now that that's thrown out federally. Children are considered something like property. The property of the mother. And as such, that trumps the rights of the child. Medical decisions don't have to be made public. This probably goes back to something like a young girl or something gets pregnant outside of marriage, and the shame that was associated with that. They started developing this concept that, well, that should be able to be made private, but obviously the very natural biological process of the child growing in the womb and she's going is going to be made public. You can't hide that. And so what do? Well, we can murder it in the name of health care, right? The health of your body and life, and you have a right to that because you have a right to keep what happens regarding health care of your body, i.e. pregnancies and stuff like that, private. And if you carry that forward, it would become public. So we will aid in. That's basically. So it wasn't that the law wasn't recognized as a life. It's just the right of the mothers trumped the right of the life of the fetus. There's nowhere you can go higher than the Supreme Court, other than maybe taking the Supreme Court to SCOTUS, Montana Supreme Court. But there's kind of a contradiction here, right? It says to minors, bodily autonomy, aren't babies in the womb minors? Don't they have a right to... Oh, but they can't make a decision. It's a bunch of made up... Notice they're just the jargon and rights, bodily time, freedom, privacy, There's no real kind of meaning behind it. You know, a law that violates the law of God is not a law. Like, I don't think people need to respect that. You know, a law that allows children to murder and for the state to come after your children and do whatever they want with them, it's no law. There's no reason why anybody needs to recognize that as. So congratulations, Montana Supreme Court. Very upset, as you can tell. So forgive me. All right, moving on.